3 crimes where I left off. Just gonna breeze through finishing this chapter, and then I'll do my rant shit if I even want to, but I'm gonna focus on the book. But welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for attempting to understand and fighting the good fight. Just thank you for the perseverance. Thank you for the innate ability to discern. You know, there's a discernment that's needed. The discernment is it's a mental lifesaver. And then the lifesaver could be metaphorically the So whoa. So I'm not going to be ranty about, you know, how there's a disarray of the law that's happening, and that disarray of the law within the timeline. It was always kind of like that. It was always leveraged to some, you know, principal parties, particularly in a certain frame of time. So since the frame of time is changing, and I don't mean to sound like an old broken record with this, that means everything else is changing, right? So that's for me to pause and me to be like, okay, everything is changing. So since everything is changing, the old tactics are not going to work. But the thing is, within a different type of critical thinking, some beings, individuals, are still working and habitualized and still attempting and executing and using old tactics in a new shift. So if you're using old tactics in a new shift, what is that going to really do? And even if you're using old tactics in the old shift, such as just like, you know, I guess there's just like, there's a niche, I guess, cheat code of how, and I'm just saying it for the sake of the natural law, right? So when I'm approaching me and the 3D reality and the quote unquote, the corrupt law systems as it is, I'm coming in the approach of a natural law approach that has a different governance and it's doing its own thing, but it coincides with the old 3D law that was doing its own spiel, and the natural law was doing its own thing, right? But the natural law is always going to be doing its own thing, right? We quote unquote reap what we sow, whatever the fuck that means, right? So I'm just saying old tactics won't work in a new shift, but if you think old tactics will work in a new shift, then that's a different type of metaphysical, like, future fuck around and find out, right? Old tactics being used in a new shift. That's what's happening. And guess what? There's been different waves of truth seekers in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s that have been doing a particular type of clarity work. Because when I say the quote unquote spiritual warfare, I've written about this in like blogs, right? Like that could mean like different contexts, right? The spiritual warfare. That's like a context thing. It's like we're growing up as a new baby soul, all of us, and that baby soul grows through the reality. It has some type of soul growth, and within the soul growth, it gets tested and tempered by different things that they don't even know that are anti-soul. So on an advanced intelligent level, anti-soul things are against the soul, a different context and channel of the spiritual warfare. In the context of like looking at it in the natural law, and then oppose that in the artificial world, we're having new labels and new interpretations of spiritual warfare, which could be more or less correct or incorrect. And within those new interpretations, we're all in it no matter how we dub it, no matter how we classify it, no matter how we label it, no matter how we interpret it, we're all in some type of quote unquote spiritual warfare. Mind the context, mind you. So within me saying all of that, we all are at an individual subjective level of energetic maturation rate and phases of growth. So within that phases of growth, we are still recycling and cleaning out old tactics from the whole last quote unquote 2,000 years. And the last whole 2,000 years are energetically and intellectually being washed out, cleaned out perhaps, right? Because if someone is like propping themselves to like more or less have an illusion about like the law system is working in type of favor, yet they're breaking the law, that's some type of spiritual delusional shit. Because for someone to be a hypocrite with them propping up a fake program and agenda of like, this is for your safety, yet they're doing things counterintuitive to that safety, and they're doing an agenda underneath that, that's breaking the law. And it's up to the clarity work, some type of spiritual work, it's up to the mental work for the fucking good positions and clarity to even be a thing and even be segued. It's because some type of past clarity work was doing its thing, right? So within the some type of past clarity work that was doing its thing, that intellectual work from the past segued for the organization and the intellectual stability and the post-nature stability in the 3D for the stability to be what it is, right? So how are all you billionaires enjoying the stability of life? You know, that type of shit. And how are you looking to the future and not just saying rhetoric and regurgitated shit, respectively, to nature's law, right? So so within me and saying all this, what am I really trying to say? It's like there's a nuance to how you could like crack a certain code, right? There's a nuance to cracking a certain code, because if all of this is mechanics, the mechanics of the nature and how things move, not the individual noun of the mechanics, but the collective noun of the mechanics is nature's mechanics could isolate you, and they're doing their thing, and the nature's mechanics in the background, it's allowing things for you to be isolated or for people to come into your life and in and out of your life to begin with. It's like, are you more or less ready for that, for what challenge you have? And I guess, like, you know, the more intellectually, like, you know, energetic you are, the more bigger the challenge is. Because for someone to like say like, for there to even be a law system that's even put into place to begin with, but that doesn't, for some odd reason, just saying it as it is, it doesn't entirely follow 100% accuracy protocols to its law system, then it takes a certain type of clarity work to particularly transform that shit, which that is the intellectual foundation that everything is standing on. Anything you could think of, right? Anything you could think of: sports, music, entertainment, law, business, tech, crypto, whatever the fuck you're talking about, it all stands on the foundational law of it. And I'm coming from a natural law approach. So whatever the fucking surface level 3D dark matrix mechanics law used to be, how it transforms and how it's still rigidly holding on to its nuanced hypocrisy of how people could fucking break laws and they could get away with it for some time, but until nature law and a different type of like shift law occurs, then that's when the laws could actually be enforced, because the law here in the past age is hypocritical. Because some people could say that they could say that like that there's laws that are here. You know, there's laws that are here, but yet if someone breaks that law, it's like a certain nuance for something to like for something to really transition and change here. And I'm dabbling with a couple points here. I'm gonna read the book. I'm gonna read the Tao, and so since that law is like being changed, it's up to the clarity work to keep it going, because it's like the intelligence of like you know, the real positive information. Oh, it's like that's the thing that's clearing the way, pretty much. It's like there's a particular force in the energy that is pre-field and pre-quote-unquote environment that's clearing the way in the mechanics of the way matrix, but it's all like a certain type of advanced mechanics, right? And there's another point that was just like, you know, it was just around the corner and it will come back. But like I would have to, and I understand people's like emotional positions. People are big mad up in this bitch. Yeah, I would be too. It's because there's a polarization factor going on within the soul. So if you're quote unquote big mad, homie, it's because there's different polarization shifts, and some things are polarizing to to pure disorderly. And if it's pure disorderly, that's manifesting energetically a creation that's misaligned. So when I say things are like, did you take out the trash? Is this trash? Is there trash here? Did you take out the trash in the metaphor? Like when I like visit these other spiritual pages, like, did you take out the trash within the metaphor and the nature language? It's like you're doing things from a bottom up way where it's not entirely the whole truth, and it's borrowing from a whole different system, and you're sustaining yourself while doing it from a fragmented bottom up way. So, and there's other points I wanted to say here, but like, so since nature's law and clarity work is coming for the shift that's happening here is like the shift that's happening here is like I'm just following up on like on the previous waves of you know, because obviously someone could tell me like they could tell me like anything, right? Like someone might even say I'm a poser. No, I'm working with what I have, and I'm doing it based on my quote unquote mode or my element, right? So within me doing it on that's my particular quote unquote challenge and proxy challenge. I'm doing it for a certain type of clarity work. It's an intellectual work for the reality. And I'm just saying it for what it is. And I will read all my recent stream posts, shit posts for what they are. And I'll bite my own bullet and I'll taste my own sour candy, right? So as I taste my own sour candy, what does that mean? It's like, do you realize what you're what the actions you're doing, how they're affecting everything else? Because everything is something of a metaphorical domino effect and a butterfly effect at the same time. The butterfly effect, you know, depending on what you do, choosing door A, B, or C, that's going to give you a certain cause result to the certain cause it's going to give you a certain result to the certain cause that you were given. And then the domino effect, based on what you're choosing, that there's a segue of a situation and circumstances of segues that happen based on if you're choosing door A, B, or C. So the domino effect and the butterfly effect are happening simultaneously. You could say the butterfly effect is like the emotional trauma work, more or less, and going back and like, you know, and recovering different soul pieces and stuff. And the domino effect is based on where your matrix character is and what your matrix character is choosing to alter your individual butterfly effect and the collective butterfly effect. And the domino effects are what they are, and the truth is still doing what they're doing, and the misinterpretations and the new interpretations will do what they do, right? Because why am I bringing up the domino effect? It's because everything that's being caused in some type of quote unquote harm to you, then some type of harm to you, there's going to be a reaction. And this is the reaction. I'm reacting from different types of, from a bigger picture standpoint, the nuanced disalignments, advanced intelligence, the nuanced disalignments of the globe and the earth. And somehow I'm in that polarized section of a disalignment, you know, collective societal environmental, you know, quote unquote governmental ecosystem. And from that disalignment of that quote unquote shit show, I have some type of challenge and polarization within that. And for me to fix that, everybody's similar. If someone's doing harm to you, you're going to have to respond. So this is the response. This is the energetic response to it. And there was one more point I wanted to make out here or whatever. And yeah, people are just like, yeah, that's the yeah, I think that's the point. People are like, they're in a particular level of growth where they're new to them having self-reflection, and they're new to like them having old outdated programs of old tactics, right? And I'm not telling anybody what to do in the ironic energy of it. I'm just kind of doing my own flow, but people are having old programs, old tactics, old habits within a new shift. So then I could easily read their what the fuck energy, and aside from their what the fuck and their like, you know, their I guess, you know, some type of like, you know, crybaby situation, professionally saying it, mind you, then the mechanics are still gonna do their thing. You know, we're still gonna follow our own suit. We're gonna follow our own program. We're gonna follow our own job in the matrix. But some of us are doing it outside of the matrix, you know, in just in a different, unique, energetic way, right? So as that's happening, the people, the quote unquote, the metaphysical shit show that's happening right now, it's because people are polarized just the matrix. Simultaneously, in the fattest irony in existence is, as they're doing multiple different things in the matrix, they're still leaning on the nature realm to do everything that they're fucking doing possible and shitting on it. So that's like, so this is the biggest irony ever, right? Why? Because you're shitting on a law system that you need on the nature perspective. So if you're shitting on a law system you need because you have old tactics and old programs, that's a certain, you know, context of an immature soul. And the immature souls, they're doing old tactics, but it's not what you do, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And I'm not downplaying or discrediting anybody's war. You have your own reason for war. That's the big ass fatty titty purpose for 3D. It's to delegate certain shit. And for some reason within this crux of the shift, a certain like big time span was where there was a lessening of light, and within the lessening of light, now there's more of an increase of light. And since there's an increase of light, we're trying to catch up to that natural energetically while doing matrix shit. So this is the essence of the breakdown of your individual matrix. This is the essence of the individual breakdown of your matrix. Why and how? Because the different shifts that are happening are seeing how the new light is recognizing the old light. And since the new light is recognizing the old light, people all over the globe are, without them necessarily knowing it, on a physical level, energetic level, collective time level, they're in the old light and the old program while receiving the new light, right? So within all of that shit that's happening, this is the natural law, right? So within the natural law, and people putting their false masks and them saying, I'm all about the law, I'm a good citizen, yet they're breaking the law, and some type of collective law of the service level law is allowing that, then nature will have a reaction, and then in the future would delegate its hand, and then people in the future have received their karma, and now in some weird context, the present could be the future too, right? Because everything's in the quote unquote motherfucking titty present. So within everything being in the motherfucking titty present, the present could be the future, and the future could be the present. 2000 underground 12 shit in the writtens. So what am I trying to say here? The present could be the future. So if the present could be the future, advanced karma is delivering advanced esoteric justice in a slow, painful way, because you get what you deserve on an advanced level. So they say, right? Quote unquote, mind you. So if you get what you deserve and you reap what you sow, it's because on a bigger picture level, you're being a hypocrite to natural law, and you're using the surface level fake law in a fake way by saying there's laws that exist, but we're going to be hypocritical with these laws. There's laws that exist, and we're going to tamper with these laws, and we're going to fucking fine tune these laws, and we're going to hack these laws, and we're going to make these random excuses of these laws so we could get a one up and have a unique lever of control, right? Because the thing with the law here is, it's like, it's an unwarranted tactic. It's an old tactic. It's an unclear tactic. It's a barbaric tactic. It's an outdated tactic. What am I trying to say? When you sign a user agreement, isn't that in a primitive, outdated way? Why can't there be a way where it's simple and clear, right? original open source first within the metaphysical intelligence, and AI is just following the nature intelligence, and y'all could have your cognitive dissonant fucking fake law shit show and be hypocritical on a low-key level, and I don't give a fuck, because let me go back to the other point is the other point was saying